Donald O'Connor. You won't believe what one of Hollywood's greatest entertainers had to say about his co-star Debbie Reynolds. Behind the bright lights and legendary dance numbers was a real friendship, full of admiration, laughter, and respect. And when Donald O'Connor finally shared his true feelings, the world got to see just how special their bond really was. Born in Chicago on the 28th of August, 1925, Donald O'Connor didn't exactly have a normal childhood. His parents were vaudeville performers, always on the road, and little Donald grew up surrounded by costumes, stages, and applause. It might sound exciting, but life wasn't easy. Several of his siblings passed away when they were young, and Donald learned early on that joy and tragedy could exist side by side. Maybe that's why he developed the incredible resilience and boundless energy that later defined him on screen. By the time most kids were learning long division, Donald was already in front of a movie camera. At just 11 years old, he made his film debut. Throughout the 1,930 seconds and 40 seconds, he quickly became one of Universal's most reliable young stars. His boyish charm, quick wit, and lightning-fast dance steps made him a natural in musicals and comedies. He wasn't just a child star, he grew into a leading man, which was rare in Hollywood. Alongside performers like Bing Crosby and Peggy Ryan, he proved he could hold his own, no matter who was standing next to him. But of course, the role that secured his place in Hollywood history came in 1952 with Singin' in the Rain. Starring alongside Gene Kelly and a very young Debbie Reynolds, Donald delivered what is still considered one of the greatest musical numbers of all time, Make 'Em Laugh. That routine wasn't just funny, it was dangerous. He threw himself around the set, flipping off walls, crashing into props, and literally exhausting himself to the point where he needed days in bed to recover. But ask anyone today, and they'll tell you, it was worth it. That performance sealed his reputation as a one-of-a-kind entertainer. While audiences laughed and clapped, Donald was also building a career that stretched far beyond musicals. He starred in the popular Francis the Talking Mule series, which made him a household name. Even though he sometimes joked about being remembered for talking to a mule, those films were massive hits and brought joy to millions. He also lit up television screens, hosting his own variety show and even the Academy Awards. Whether on stage, TV, or film, Donald O'Connor had a gift: he could make people laugh, cry, and cheer, sometimes all in the same performance. Away from the spotlight, Donald's personal life was full of ups and downs. He married twice, first at the age of 18 to Gwendolyn Carter, with whom he had a daughter, Donna. That marriage eventually ended, but in 1956 he married actress Gloria Noble, and this time it stuck. They built a strong marriage that lasted nearly half a century, raising 3 more children together. Through the chaos of Hollywood, Gloria became his rock, his partner, and his safe place. But when Donald reflected on his career, one name always made him smile: Debbie Reynolds. Now, if you've ever seen Singin' in the Rain, you know she was dazzling. But what most people don't realize is that when filming began, Debbie wasn't a dancer at all. She was young, inexperienced, and suddenly thrown into one of the most demanding musicals ever made. Donald never forgot the way she handled it. She had no dance experience when she started, he explained, but she worked herself to exhaustion to keep up with Gene and me. I respected her so much for that. Imagine being a teenager, learning to dance from scratch, while sharing the screen with 2 of the greatest performers in history. Most people would have crumbled under that kind of pressure, but not Debbie. She rose to the challenge, and Donald admired her deeply for it. But his praise didn't stop at her work ethic. Donald often spoke about Debbie with real warmth. She was funny, she was charming, and she could light up a room, he said. People adored her, and I was one of them. Behind the cameras, she wasn't just his co-star, she was his friend. Someone who laughed with him, who lightened the grueling days of rehearsal, and who showed the kind of resilience that only comes from true strength. Donald recognized that Debbie's personal life wasn't always easy. She faced heartbreak, studio pressures, and public struggles. Yet, as he put it, she always managed to smile, to laugh, and to move forward. That takes real strength. For Donald, Debbie wasn't just another Hollywood star, she was family. "We shared a bond that only people who've been through the trenches of show business can really understand," he once said. That kind of statement doesn't come lightly. Even in his later years, when asked about her, his words carried a tenderness that never faded. "She was one of a kind," he said in one of his final interviews. "There'll never be another Debbie Reynolds." Those weren't just compliments. They were a heartfelt tribute to a woman who inspired him both professionally and personally. Of course, time eventually caught up with Donald. Decades of dancing, tumbling, and performing took a toll on his body. In 1990, he underwent quadruple heart bypass surgery, a stark reminder that even the most energetic entertainer can't outrun time. Nearly a decade later, he battled a near-fatal case of pneumonia. Somehow, he pulled through, showing the same resilience that had carried him through a lifetime of challenges. But in 2003, at the age of 78, Donald O'Connor passed away from heart failure. His death was felt deeply, not just because the world lost a brilliant entertainer, but because it lost a man who had given everything to his craft. He spent his final days at a place built for performers. Like him, the motion picture and television country house and hospital in Woodland Hills, California. Surrounded by the very community that had shaped his life, Donald's story came full circle. But what stays with us isn't just his dazzling footwork or his hilarious routines. It's the way he spoke about the people who mattered to him, especially Debbie Reynolds. His words remind us that behind the glamour of Hollywood are real friendships, real admiration, and real love. Donald didn't just respect Debbie as a star, he cherished her as a person. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Fame fades, but kindness, hard work, and genuine human connection? That's what lasts forever. So, if you loved hearing about Donald O'Connor's true feelings for Debbie Reynolds, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories, and share this with someone who adores classic movies as much as you do. Because some stories, like this one, deserve to be remembered.